Hey there, pirates! Welcome aboard the Anime No Mi channel. The Pirate King's sword is one of the most powerful blades of all time. After all, the Ace Blade is of supreme grade. And now, this sword may return to history, and we will talk about that and much more in today's video. I hope for your support to help our crew win, and to do so, you just need to click the thumbs up button, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. By doing this, you will win an incredible devil fruit, so just comment which fruit you want. Guys, if Zoro found the Pirate King's sword, things could take a very unexpected turn full of fun moments. Just imagine him stumbling upon it by chance in some random place, maybe on some strange island no one has ever heard of. And there it was, a sword with a presence that gives you that strange chill. Maybe he would stand there for a few seconds staring at it, wondering if it was real or just another one of the messes he always gets into. Maybe he would even remember when he found Shusui in Thriller Bark, chapter 467, that moment when he realized some swords have a mind of their own. Now, if this were the Pirate King's sword, I think the impact would be even greater. Maybe he would feel the sword vibrating, almost calling to him. Zoro, being who he is, would probably grab the sword without ceremony in his usual way and do the basic test, swinging it through the air and realizing that this was no ordinary sword. I think he might even wonder if the sword would accept being wielded by him. After all, the Wado Ichimonji, the Sandai Kutetsu, and the Enma are already swords with a lot of history, and this new addition could be a challenge. Remember that scene in chapter 955 when he received Enma? He was surprised by the strength the sword demanded, and maybe it would be similar here, only with a different energy, maybe even heavier. Now, thinking about the possibility of him deciding to keep it, it would be complicated. Not because of the physical weight, but because of what this sword would represent. I think Zoro would question whether using a sword that once belonged to the Pirate King is the right thing, but at the same time, he's always been straightforward with his goals. Maybe he would think that such a powerful sword could help him reach the top. Who knows? Maybe Shanks would show up at some point, not to fight or anything, but just to watch and give that little smile as if saying, "So you found it?" Zoro probably wouldn't care much about that and would just keep training. There's that scene in chapter 1033 when he talks to the sword itself, recognizing that he needs to respect it. I think it would be the same here, him learning to handle this new power without losing focus. And of course, Luffy would eventually comment, "Oh, new sword? Looks cool." And Zoro would just reply with, "Tsk, don't bother me." I think their dynamic would always bring lightness, even in situations like this. Now, about the other possibility, him giving this sword to Luffy, I think it would be even more interesting. Zoro has always been loyal to Luffy, and despite his love for swords, he understands that some things have a bigger purpose. Maybe he would look at the sword and think, this has more to do with him than with me. I imagine the scene like this. After picking up the sword and testing it, he would walk up to Luffy, throw the sword on the ground in front of him, and say, "This is yours, not mine." Luffy, with his carefree attitude, might not understand at first and ask if it's edible. Then Zoro would get irritated and shout, "It's a sword, idiot!" But later, seeing Luffy holding the sword, he would feel like he made the right decision. Luffy has this thing about inspiring people, and even though he doesn't know much about swords, he would carry it with the right weight, the weight of the dreams they share. I think this act would symbolize much more than just an object. It would be a proof of trust, of understanding that in the end, what matters is the journey they make together. And Zoro, in his usual way, would just say, "Don't make me regret this." And so, they would move forward, each with their role in this great adventure. Well, if Zoro took the Pirate King's sword, it wouldn't be a simple story of, oh, he found a cool sword. No, folks, he would start feeling the weight, not just in his arm, but in his soul as well. Just imagine him suddenly carrying a sword with a history as big as the ocean itself. For sure, there would be moments when he would reflect, maybe even daydream, trying to figure out what it really represents. Could this sword have a secret? Would it have some connection to the Pirate King? Or would it just be another powerful blade amidst the chaos? And the most curious part, would it have any influence over him, over his destiny? Zoro, being a stubborn guy, wouldn't easily let himself be swayed. He's the type who prefers to learn the hard way. And you know, when he starts to realize that the sword might be influencing his thoughts and emotions, what would he do? Maybe he would start training differently. He's already an incredible swordsman, but a sword of this level would push him further. Zoro already has a unique relationship with his swords, and this one would surely make him rethink his fighting style. But would he want to share that with others? It's not every day someone finds the Pirate King's sword. Maybe he would want to keep this secret just for himself. But as always, Luffy would end up finding out one way or another. together. And then comes that thing about Zoro wanting to be the best swordsman in the world. Would he want to wield a sword so full of history, or would he prefer to stick with the swords he already has? The Wado Ichimonji, the Enma, and even the Sandai Katetsu are fundamental pieces in his journey. Each has its own essence, and Zoro respects that. So, would he feel that this sword was taking away a bit of his identity, or would it be an opportunity to become even stronger? I think deep down, he would want to do things on his own without relying on a shortcut. But who knows? He might just give in to a sword that came straight from the glorious past of the Pirate King. And about the idea of giving the sword to Luffy, well, that would bring its own drama, of course. Because deep down, Zoro knew that Luffy was the type of guy who would do anything for his friends and crewmates. And maybe Zoro thought, if anyone needs this sword, it's Luffy. But it wouldn't be simple. The sword wouldn't just be a weapon for Luffy, it would be a symbol. Not a symbol of power, but of friendship, loyalty, and of course, the dreams they share. Just imagine Luffy's smile when he held the sword. He wouldn't understand any sword techniques, but he would definitely understand the weight it carried. Not the physical weight, of course, but the weight of Zoro's dreams, of everyone's dreams. And in the middle of all this, Zoro would see how much his captain cares about him and the journey they are on. It wouldn't be just any handover, but a promise. A promise that no matter what happens, they would be together until the end. And we can't forget Zoro's don't make a fuss, right? Because while Luffy would be there trying to understand the sword, Zoro, with his tough demeanor, would just say something like, "Come on, just use it already, idiot." Because deep down, Zoro has the utmost confidence in Luffy, even if he doesn't always show it. He knows that just as he is striving to be the greatest swordsman, Luffy is striving to be the Pirate King, and their paths are parallel. They have to move forward, each with their own aspirations, but always together. However, I think that when Zoro sees Luffy genuinely caring about that sword, feeling the weight of what it represents, he would have one of those moments of reflection. Zoro would look up at the sky and think, yeah, it's not just about swords. It's about friends, about what we're building together. And if the sword helps Luffy become stronger, then that's what matters. He's always been a man of few words, but when he speaks, it's because he truly believes in it. So I imagine him saying, "Don't make me regret this," but with that serious look of someone who is already certain they did the right thing. In the end, Zoro would continue with his mission to become the greatest swordsman in the world, but now he would have something more. Something that the Pirate King's sword could bring him. Something he didn't know he needed, but that will surely prove to be essential. Because more than strength, more than skill, what Zoro really needs is to understand what he's searching for and why he fights. And the sword, with all its history, with all the weight of the Pirate King, will serve as a tool for him to reflect on that. Of course, there would be that classic touch of Zoro. He would be wondering, deep down, if he's ready to handle this new power. But at the same time, he would remember all the battles he's already faced, all the challenges he's already overcome. And he would realize that just like with Enma, he'll learn to control this power. But it will be a process. And Zoro, as always, will be the type to learn by doing, facing challenges one by one. Not afraid to fall, but with the determination to rise stronger. Now, let's think about the impact of all this on the crew. I can imagine Sanji making jokes, as always, saying something like, "Zoro, as if having a bunch of swords isn't enough, now you want to carry the weight of the world on your back too?" And of course, Nami, with her clever way, would add a touch of wisdom. What if you end up being the new Pirate King, Zoro? But deep down, everyone knew that Zoro already carries an immense weight on his shoulders. He has his own dreams, his own mission, and that will never change. And Luffy, of course, would be that guy who always believes in everyone. And, not really knowing much about swords or the Pirate King, would just smile and say, "If it helps us reach the top, then let's go for it." And so, the crew would move forward, with yet another adventure ahead, another story to tell, another sword to take care of, and another step toward everyone's great dream. So, if the Pirate King's sword really was the key to the next big step for Zoro, or even for Luffy, the most important thing is that it would carry not only the strength of a king, but also the weight of the dreams of all those fighting for something greater. And this journey has no end. What truly matters is how each one handles what they have in their hands, and whether with swords or dreams, they move forward together. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.